Why are so many presentations so bad? Everyone's sat in a room where they're just waiting for a presentation or a pitch or an overview of a deck to be over. I want to explain the three major things that drive why those presentations are so bad and hopefully how you can avoid them. The three things are 1, buried purpose, 2, information soup, and 3, pretty slide syndrome. Let's dive into each of them. Buried purpose is essentially when either the ask or the action or the intended outcome is buried deep in the presentation, and also indicates that the person putting together the pitch or giving the presentation doesn't actually know what they're doing or trying to achieve. Now, a good way to get at this is ask, what are you actually trying to achieve here? And people might say something at a surface level the first time like, oh, I'm just trying to align the team. Get more specific than that. Who are you trying to align? Are you trying to get the CEO to take action? Do you want somebody to make a decision by next Friday? Do you want the marketing team to allocate budget by Tuesday to your project? Get really specific. And a good thing that can help with this is the SCQA process. And this will help you define your problem. And then you can translate that to, okay, what are we doing to either solve that problem, address that problem, or raise awareness to this issue that we're trying to solve in this presentation or pitch? Number 2 is information soup. This is perhaps the biggest flaw I see in a lot of how people put together presentations. Even in some of the coaching I do with executives, they struggle with this. We live in an information and data-rich world. So what a lot of people do is just put as much information as possible in the presentation. However, this may make sense for somebody that has been deep in the weeds with this data, but for an audience, they're not going to know how you're thinking about it, how you're sequencing the information, and what they should pay attention to. Your job as the person developing the presentation is to curate that knowledge. You need to eliminate a lot of the knowledge, and you can do this using the synthesis part of the pyramid principle. And you need to draw the attention to what actually matters. This can be really hard though, because many times, if you're an analyst per se on a team, you might have spent 40, 50 hours working on pulling together data information, and getting rid of 30 of that hours of work in your final presentation is going to feel terrible. However, when you're thinking about it from the audience perspective, it's what you have to do, because it may be only a small part of that is what matters or will influence somebody to take action. The third one is pretty slide syndrome. Now, a lot of people want to create slides that look nice. However, if they're not actually communicating a message or part of a full story, it's just a pretty slide, right? And the goal with presentations and communicating information is that people actually take action. Now, one way around this is to understand some of the persuasion tips. I'll link up to an article I wrote about this, sharing some of these techniques, where you can actually know how to use language to persuade and to compel people to take action in certain ways, and to bring issues alive in ways that inspire them emotionally or make them want to connect with what you're actually sharing and explain why it matters. So to recap the three things: buried purpose. You can use SCQA to narrow in on your problem before you're actually deciding what to communicate. 2 is information soup. You can use the synthesis part of pyramid principle to help you narrow down what you actually want to show to your audience. It's not going to be everything that you find in your data processing and gathering steps. And 3, pretty slide syndrome. I can give you pretty slide templates, but you're going to have to figure out how to actually communicate things that matter and will help you move towards the goals you're trying to achieve.